Okay, so today we're going to talk about how I got started as a ballerina. And it all started at the School of American Ballet, which is George Balanchine's school. George Balanchine was the choreographer and the director of New York City Ballet. I went 7 years at the School of American Ballet, and then I'm going to talk about the high school performing arts. How many saw the first movie, Fame? Okay, the very first one, not the second or the third. That was based on my school. And then we're going to talk about dreams and aspirations of wanting to be a ballerina and what it takes to really become a ballerina, the hard work, the dealing with competition. And then dreams come true, dancing worldwide with Balanchine, Nureyev, and Baryshnikov. So it all started at my junior high school when I was 12 years old. And it was a public school, and I was in a class in the physical education department of probably 200 kids in my class taking physical education. And we were in PE, and the teacher, Mrs. Roberts, had us all in the gym, and we had to do our crunches. So I'm there doing my crunches, and Mrs. Roberts comes over to me, and she looks at me as I look up at her doing the crunches, and she goes, "Stephanie, I was wondering if you would like to join in our ballet group." Well, I didn't really ever take ballet before, and then I just sort of said, "Okay." She said, "Meet me after school, we have our group starting." So I met her after school. There was a group, and there was this girl, Erica, and Erica put on these toe shoes, and she started doing these bourrées around, and she did like a turn, and she bowed, and she was so graceful. And I said to her, "Wow, where'd you learn how to do that?" She said, "Well, I go to School of American Ballet." So that night I went home and I said to my mom, "I want to go to School of American Ballet." So my mom called up and found out that you have to audition. School of American Ballet is one of the best schools in the world, and it's in New York City. And it happened to be about 15 blocks from where I live. So my mom took me to the audition, and there, that's not me, but it looks like me. At the audition, you have to wear a number. And I never took dance before. I didn't know what this was all about. And so they said, we want you to do a grand jeté. And I'm like, what's a grand jeté? And I watch everybody. And they said, they looked at you, your physique, because George Balanchine was looking for long legs, pinhead, small head, and musicality. Well, luckily, and feet. Feet were very important, that you had arches and insteps. You can't really see, but I was born with good feet, thank God. And I was born with long legs, and I was born with a pinhead. And my mom was a concert pianist, which I always listened to her play the music and the piano, so I had musicality. So I was accepted, and that was the beginning. And then what it takes to be in school. I was there for 7 years, and it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of discipline, and it's repetition, and it's really hard. You take a ballet class, a ballet bar, and you always start with your pliés. Every single day, I've probably done 1,573 pliés in my lifetime, and every day you have to own it like it's the best thing in the world, which I think was the Buddhist philosophy of really being here and now. And when you're doing your pliés and your tendus, you also have to think about what your body is doing. So when you do a tendu, you just don't go, okay, step front and back and bring your leg to the side. But the elbow has to be lifted and the shoulder has to be down and the fingers have to be just the right way. When I started, we had to start with our fingers like this. For 2 years, I had to be like this. By the 3rd year, I graduated to that. So what they're doing is they're training even your hands to be rounded so it has that beautiful look. And after 40 years, I think I still have it. Then, you also have to think what your inner thigh is doing, what your shoulder blade's doing, what your hamstring buttock is doing, while you're listening to the music and being very musical while you're showing your feelings. That's without the audience. School of American Ballet also had snobbery, unfortunately, and I hated that. A lot of competition, because everybody wanted to be in the New York City Ballet Company. And this was the gem of the school, where usually you go 7 years and then you graduate into the company. And some people make it, some people don't make it. So a lot of competition, a lot of, oh, look at her leg's not getting up so high. I really hated that. I believe everybody should be nice and supportive. So that was very difficult for me. So this was a picture of the School of American Ballet when I was going to it. And we were on the second floor, and as you can see on the windows, it says School of American Ballet on there. And we had the opportunity of having a building made at the Lincoln Center of Performing Arts for us. And then it was very exciting to move to the new studio, which was very modern and big, and it was very, very exciting. So during my lifetime at the School of American Ballet, starting at the age of 12, 13, 14, I'm ready to go to high school. So I decided I really want to go to high school performing arts, which is where the movie Fame was made. And you have to audition. It's free. So everybody wants to go there. And it was a school for 400 kids, a whole high school with only 400 kids, 100 in each grade. And in the audition, what you have to do is you have to show a dance. So beforehand, the way I prepared was I had my mom play La Solfège. I can't remember what I had her play, and I recorded it. And then I choreographed a dance, and then I brought my little tape to the audition, and I got in, and it was very exciting. And Fame was not as rigid as School of American Ballet. It was full of life, and it was so great because I felt so at home there. And this is a picture from the movie Fame, where everybody's dancing on the cars outside in front of the school. Well, this was really what it was like. And everybody we had the drama department, we had the dance department, which was both ballet and modern, and then we had the music department. So in the lunch hall, everybody was practicing, the singers were singing, the dancers were dancing, the actors were reciting the monologue that they were trying to get, and it was really fabulous being in that school. So in the morning, I would take the ballet class and then the modern class and then have lunch. In the afternoon, I would take the academics, and then I'd take the subway to the School of American Ballet, where I'd do 1,533 pliés. And then I'd come home dazed and tired and sat at the dinner table, and I wasn't hungry because I had to keep my stomach in for so long. It just didn't know how to relax. And of course, my parents said, you have to eat your vegetables. So I would take the peas and hand it over to my sister. And then I have to do my homework and start the day all over again. And by the time I was 19 years old, it was time to become professional. I graduated from High School of Performing Arts with a Silver Award and a grant, which was a great honor. And George Balanchine started a company in Geneva, Switzerland. And he asked me to join that company, and he asked another friend of mine to join. So the two of us, who were tall dancers, we went to Le Grand Théâtre de Genève. And it was very exciting, all of a sudden, going to the beautiful Switzerland, Geneva, Switzerland. And what happens is, the director at that time, both George Balanchine and Alfonso Cata, Alfonso met us at the airport, and then he said, I have put you up in a home for German girls. And this home was in the old town of Switzerland. And it was in a very, very cute little area with a church across the way and cobblestones, and a New York girl going to this whole change of Europe and language was very fun and exciting. And down the hill was the theater. And here's another beautiful picture of the place where we stayed. So anyway, there I was at the age of 19, 5'9", and dancing in Europe, learning French, and exploring my world. And in our company, there was dancers from all over the world, which was really great. I mean, there was a whole cultural education that was going on. There were dancers from Germany, France, Spain, Italy, England, and it was a very exciting and scary time at the same time. But dreams do come true, and there I was dancing in Tombeau de Couperin, a ballet by George Balanchine. And George Balanchine has a lot of leotard ballets. The leotard is just the leotard without the costume. And the reason why is Balanchine wanted you to see the music and hear the dancers. And he didn't mean it by hear the dancers by their feet, but he was so musical that his choreography was so musical that when you moved, you almost heard music and you could see it. Working with George Balanchine was fabulous. And I'm going to share with you what it was like performing some of these ballets. And as you can see, ballet is art. And the way we were trained as a George Balanchine dancer was you had to think always of what your line was. So if you look at me with just my arms, that should look hopefully good. But now, look at how that changes. The second the elbows are down and the head is forward and the pelvis is forward, it portrays a whole different vision than lifting up. You see that little, just that little? So we're constantly thinking of our bodies as a piece of sculpture, and we really want to make sure the sculpture always looks beautiful every single second of the dance. While you're thinking of well, you don't really have to think about the musicality because it's so musical, performing in front of thousands of people. So that was a little scary. The other ballet that I was known for is this ballet called Agon. And Agon was a collaboration with Igor Stravinsky as the composer and George Balanchine. And Stravinsky took 3 years to make this music, and he was going through a whole transformation in his career. And you know how the scales are da 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 da. Well, he decided to make a scale that was more 12 counts. And he decided to put that kind of thought into the music. And Stravinsky's not it's not melodic music. It's and there's parts of this ballet where you have to count because it's not, you can't hear as well. So I performed this, and there's different points where in the very beginning you had to count 16, and then you had to count 4, and then you had to count 5, and then you had a 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. And so Stravinsky was a little difficult. And in the pas de deux, you will see, not yet though, the music you can't count. You have to really know the music. So I had to really listen and listen and listen till the music was a memory, opposed to being, I would never be able to sing it though. And this is with the principal dancer of Béjar, which is Floris Alexander. He was a great partner. Unfortunately, he's not around anymore. And now you're going to see this old footage that my friend filmed from a TV set. moving right along to another ballet called Episodes. Martha Graham, I don't know if you know, Martha Graham was one of the best modern dance choreographers, and she almost started the evolution of modern dance. And George Balanchine and Martha Graham collaborated on this ballet called Episodes. And after a while, Balanchine decided he didn't want the modern Martha Graham's dancers dancing, so he choreographed 4 pieces before all of his. So he would call it first theme, second theme, third theme. And this is me dancing in third theme. And as you know, Balanchine is like a sculptor, and he had a sense of humor. And this was like a deer in headlights. And the hands are the headlights, and my legs were the antlers, so if you could see that. Then Balanchine worked with me directly, and it was kind of like a dream come true. Talk about dreams and aspirations. And it was interesting, he had the company in New York, and he'd come over to Switzerland and work with us. He thought of it as a vacation for him because it was so beautiful. And Bugaku, he choreographed Bugaku, this ballet, that is about a Japanese marriage ceremony. And he choreographed it for this dancer called Allegra Kent. Allegra Kent was probably 5'4", and he felt Japanese, small, didn't want a tall dancer to dance the role. So at that time, my director, Patricia Neri, said to me, Balanchine is coming to work with us. I don't want him to know that you're dancing it. So why don't you dance the second, not the first performance, but the second performance. And he will be here for the opening night, and then he'll leave. He'll be here for dress rehearsal. So during lunch break, Patricia Neri said, come on, Stephanie, let's rehearse it on stage. And Balanchine's going out to lunch. So Balanchine said, goodbye, dear, I'm going out to lunch. And he went off stage and went to lunch. And then there I was on stage rehearsing Bugaku. And all of a sudden, Balanchine walks back and says, oh, I forgot something. And he looks at me and he goes, what's she doing here? And I was like, Patricia Neri and I look at each other like, uh-oh, like the deer in headlights. And she said, well, I just thought this would be very good for Stephanie to dance, And he goes, okay, think I'll miss my lunch break and work with her. And he did, and it was just so magical. He worked with me, and he really got involved in working and showing me how to do it, and enthusiastic and passion. And at this point, he's trying to take my foot and put it to my head. And this was dreams come true, working with the master. So Balanchine started doing leotard ballets with long skirts. And one of them is Serenade. And the very interesting thing about the choreography of Serenade, there's a whole bunch of dancers on stage, and they're all standing in this position. And they all do the same thing. And then they dance a little bit, and then they go like they're about to walk off stage, and they slowly walk off stage like step, step. But when everybody's in this pose, there's a principal dancer that starts to run in, and she's looking for her place. And she's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. Oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. And she hits the pose as everybody else walks off stage. And when he choreographed it, it's happened from reality in rehearsal. Everybody's doing the rehearsal, and this girl comes in late, and she's like, oh my God, I'm late, where do I go? I don't know. And she finally hits the pose as everybody's going out, and so he said, we're gonna keep that in the ballet. So next time you see Serenade, you'll know the story behind it. So moving on in my career, I had the greatest opportunity of working with Rudolf Nureyev. So in all honesty, Rudolf Nureyev was really an amazing, amazing dancer. But he also had a very, very huge ego. And he didn't get along with many people because he'd be yelling at them all the time. So when he came to work with us, it was very scary. What he did was he came into the ballet class with the pliés and everything, and he went and he looked at all the dancers, and what he did was he choreographed this ballet called Manfred with the Paris Opera, and he was taking this ballet to our company. Right now, I went from Le Grand Théâtre Genève, we moved to the Opernhaus Zurich, which is going from French to German. And when he came in, he was looking to see who would dance what roles. And if anybody saw The Black Swan, has anybody seen the movie Black Swan? Okay, so in Black Swan, you see she's, doing her tendus, and the director comes in to see who's going to do the lead, and you could see her brain is not only trying to think about the tendus, but she's like, what is he doing, and who's he looking at, and is he going to check me, and am I going to be the one? And so that's very true that goes on when the director comes in. So Nureyev came in, and he actually picked me to be his mother in this role, which was such an honor. And dancing with Nureyev, there were many, many stories I have to share, and I actually have a story to share with you about us together. So I'm going to put this film on. One day in rehearsal, he came up to me and he goes, "What size your boots? Your boats? What size your boats?" And I looked at him and I go, "Excuse me, what are you talking about?" And he says, "What size your boats? Your shoes, your toe shoes?" And I said, "Excuse me, you calling my toe shoes boats?" "Yes, because they're big." I said, "You say my feet are big? Well, you're tall, you're big. I want your shoes because I think I could wear them." So I went, "Well, okay. So I've got a great idea." I said, "How about if I give you my toe shoes and I'll autograph my toe shoes for you, and you give me your ballet shoes and you autograph your ballet shoes for me?" And he looks at me like nobody's ever done this before to him. And he thinks for a moment, and he goes, "Okay, you go to my dressing room, you get it later." So I go to his dressing room later with my toe shoes autographed, and his masseuse is there, and his masseuse says, "Oh my God, I don't know what you did. He never, ever gives his shoes to anybody." And so here were these pair of shoes, each one was autographed, and they were ripped apart because he loves to wear his shoes till there's nothing left in it. And now those shoes that she gave me, I gave on loan to the Young Museum, and they're here at the Nureyev costume exhibit, and it's very exciting. So we had a great bond, but life moves on to Mikhail Baryshnikov. Gee, not too bad, huh? So Mikhail Baryshnikov comes into our classroom because he was going to dance with us. And there I am doing my pliés. And he walks in and I'm like, "Oh my God, he's so cute." Okay, thinking as I'm doing this, it's like, "Oh, he's so cute." And then all of a sudden he comes in and he stands behind me at the bar. I'm like, "Oh my God, he's right behind me. I better really pay attention to what I'm doing." As I turn around, I do the step on the other side. By the fourth step, I'm really concentrating on what I'm doing because I don't want to make a mistake at all. And he goes, "Psst, psst." And I turn around and he goes, "I did not get the step." I go, "Oh yeah, it's passé, passé, coupe fondue, front, side, back, turn around." He goes, "Okay." The next step, psst. I go, "What?" He says, "I didn't get the step." I go, "Okay, no problem." I go, "Two grand pas mas front, two side, two back, passé, balance, attitude, penché." He goes, "Okay." By the fourth time, and he goes, "Psst." I turned around and I go, "Will you pay attention?" And I could tell he was flirting with me, and I flirted back. But Russian, there was this thing again going on where our souls were so connected. I think we were flirting. Nothing happened, but we really, really were flirting because we had our own language, and we did talk. And one day, a friend of his brought him to my house because it was his birthday, and he saw my boyfriend. At that time, I wasn't getting along with my boyfriend, but he got very upset and never spoke to me again. So anyway, that's my story. So now you know why he was cute. Touring the world as a ballerina was just amazing. I mean, we were in Athens, Greece at the Herodes Atticus Theater. And this was our backdrop. Those were the ruins as our backdrop. And, you know, talk about history and being part of history and dancing with that as your backdrop was just another dream come true in my life. And here we were rehearsing in Spain at the Alhambra Festival at Granada. And performances would be at 10 p.m. at night during the summertime. And we came for the festival to perform. But because it was so hot in Spain, we had to rehearse on stage at like 9 a.m. in the morning till 12 before the sun got very hot. And then usually you'd go back to your hotel, have a siesta, and then you'd come back to warm up at about 8 o'clock on stage before putting on your makeup. And then 10 o'clock till midnight would be the performance, and then you have to eat dinner. So we probably didn't get to bed till 3 in the morning. So again, here's the ruins, which was history and dreams come true. And here we are in Palermo, Italy, where there's 3,200 people in the audience. So I had a good career. And here are some more lectures that we will be giving here. We have Tuesday, September 9th, how to appreciate a ballet performance, which I would share with you. And then October 14th, how does choreography work? And then November 11th, how does costume, set design, and lighting affect the feel and look of the ballet? So in the meantime, here's my information. Thank you.